Alrighty then, we are back for episode 8. It's still day 15. It is now early morning. I went around and sold all of this extra garbage we had, and while I was waiting for the sun to come up, I cooked some of this meat. So, I already sewed this off before. You just have fires somewhere around here. Where did I put them? Hard to see in the daytime. But you have like a fire. You go right click auto haul, and if you hold shift, it'll create it as a job, and it'll just continually do that job, right? And you can rate priority, do other stuff. So, had people do the job of doing that while somebody else would remove inventory from it and put it inside someone like a pack animal. With lots of clicking, lots of waiting for things to cook because I have the default 1.0 time. Anywho, we're at 240k. Also, for some crazy reason, the city hunters decided to pick a fight right in front of the city guards. That didn't go too well for them, and I picked up some of their stuff to sell as well while I was selling all the other stuff. But 240k, time to start making the journey to the Deadlands. So, we're traveling pretty light. Oh, one other thing I did is I got some pants from the clothing shop. So now everyone has medium, or no, yeah, they're all high, no standard, all high grade pants. And we got one standard, yeah. So one standard black plate, one mercenary plate was standard. And ideally, eventually, I like to upgrade this to either samurai or mercenary. It's higher grade. And I've been looking at some numbers, and while I do really like the black and stuff for stealth, the full chain search was weigh like twice as much. I have 100% arm coverage. So for heavier armored people, that might make more sense, as that heavy armor can, like, for the arms really adds up. That is a problem. So eventually, we're probably going to want more pack animals. Because if we're not going to have a base, we're going to need to be traveling inventory, right? The potential problem here is every time you hire a ton of new baby animals, the new ones are slow. And they have to, like, grow up and speed up, and it takes time. Not honest. Anywho. I think going over that canyon is dumb. You want to go south. As difficult as that might prove to be, definitely want to go south. Yeah. Come on. We can get rid of it. We have enough. Alright. Come on. And the animals will eat that, eventually. Alright, I missed one. Whatever. He's gonna be a bit of a problem. Well, he was gonna get left behind eventually. So this is a samurai patrol. I can basically ignore them. So Tengu's Vault is the prison of the Empire. And if you end up in there, you're in trouble. But there's some pretty cool people already in the prison. But we are not in a position to make a jailbreak. So Black Desert is kind of a sucky place to be in. You are a wandering shinobi assassin. Ooh. So these guys are pretty cool. So the Shinobi Thieves Guild has wandering assassins, and they're pretty crazy. Unfortunately, I cannot trade with them. I cannot do anything. He won't talk to me. Or she. I'm pretty sure that's a she. She won't talk to me. So Black Desert is iron, right? Iron, when it rusts, you have red rust and black rust. This is black rust. The constant friction takes off the red rust and leaves the black underneath, and it's pretty dry. So, like, that's how that happens. Weird looking patch of dirt. So, if I remember right, there is a little town-like thing in the Gray Desert. Somewhere over here in the middle-ish. Yeah, there. We are not in the eye. What are you talking about? Quite clearly in the Gray Desert. Or just maybe. Anyway, the eye is a mess, and invisibility is going to be near zero. It's sort of like, why even come? Anywho, so this episode, we're going to be going down to trade with the robots in the Dead Land. And from there, who knows? You know, I'll buy that map, it's cheap. I know where a lot of this stuff generally is, but I don't know the exact location of a lot of this stuff from memory. Ooh, I'll talk to you. So, now we got some more tech hunters following us. Let's talk to Skinner. Engineer. I'm gonna say no. And then we got some mercenaries I might be able to hire, and plastic surgeon. And whoever that is. I'm taking this for fun. Let's talk to all these people. Best not be looking at me, Shumbo, or I'll best not. I'll take you off your toes. I don't really want to hire this guy. Let's see, we have a diplomatic global pacifier for the tech hunters. So this is something the mod added. So normally, if I somehow make enemies with the tech hunters, no, I can do, right? This lets me pay him money and be like, hey, robot ninja, that's a new one. Ugly bar thug. Never mind. He doesn't look so interesting anyway. And then, oi, 3K cats. I've changed my mind. So my main problem right now with hiring new people is the more people I hire, the more gear I need for them. Are you like another tech hunter group? How many are there here? Yeah, I got enough. So the more like gear I need for them all, that costs money, right? And it gets to a point where it starts costing more and more and more and more and more. And it is ideal to try to train everybody at the same time and level up and not have people with widely different levels. But this is sort of the way it has to be sometimes. But map's starting to get filled out a bit. Hey, go to Deadlands, get robot arms, get some weapons and gear. We have a whole lot of food, which is gonna matter. Because we're not gonna find a whole lot of food in this area. Okay, no that's. So, we have discovered Black City was where we want to go. And game is pausing for a second. Loading issues, perhaps. Anyway, there is a ruin here. Let's see if we can check it out. So, acid rain's going on. And someone like Hammond's got 25% protection from his helmet. He's slowly losing health, right? You are healthy for now. So these guys are hivers. They're immune to acid rain, but they're not immune to stepping in it. He's got 65% protection. So for him, it's gonna be what, 25? Right? Yeah, 25 from the helmet and 40% from the black plate. And he's wearing mercenaries, so we're gonna get expect from that. What I might do is trade the heavy armor off Hammett for a minute on the Boop. Because this will slow Boop down a bit, right? 17 now and 24. But you have no acid, right? And you are now getting, well, recalculating. Should be getting acid rain. Yeah, there it goes. 65%. So he's got more protection, it'll take it longer to eat away at him. Alright. So, this is one of the reasons I came here with only 240k, is even though I need to pay all these, you know, mercenaries, 240 isn't all that much. I knew I could probably loot some good stuff on the way. No, I said have Hammett be looting, he's the fastest now. No, not raw stone, not building materials. He's gonna go all the way around. Can I grab fabrics from here? Yes. So I'm just grabbing stuff that's not too big and have a decent value. Some of the stuff I'm not grabbing is rough stone, and I'll show you why. Rough stone's very big, it's decently heavy, and has almost no value. Alright. Building materials. Useful, very big, not that much value. Although, I do have a lot of pack animals, I might actually keep that. So, the big thing here, okay, I have to go around for that, is the skeleton repair kits. Skeleton repair kits are pretty valuable. So, we are definitely not creating those. We're gonna put them in Eevee. Or, no, we're gonna put them in Jolteon. So, these are like medical supplies for robots, or people with robot limbs. So, we're gonna need some of those. Power cores are pretty good. Iron plates aren't worth all that much, but you can stack them. a lot of the stuff you can stack. So I'm just going to dump it all and then go. Alright. So we now have 2 skeleton repair kits. Power cores, 3k each. Like, pretty decent. The copper alloy stuff sells okay. Steel, not so, or an iron, not so much. Armor plating is steel, and that does a little bit better. But it's also a lot smaller, which is useful. But the weight is about the same. But it's like less squares. Copper's a little bit lighter, but like, it's the most valuable for some reason. I don't know. What's sort of useful I don't see is there's a one of these like random ingredients you find in ruined buildings that's completely useless for everything, but it weighs 20 kilos and it's expensive and it has no use at all. But that 20 kilos and it can stack means you can put them in backpacks and get a ton of weight in the backpack. So someone with really high strength can still get max strength EXP just walking around, which you can use to like get people to walk around. It's great. Alright, so this is red. That means it's hostile. It belongs to the Second Empire. Very important. However, negative 100 relations. However, all the residents are dead. There's nobody actually here. There's no roaming stuff. There's like nothing to worry about. But yeah, that's the thing. So while I'm here, you know what? First thing I want to do is go to Black Desert City. So Boop, no problem with rain. Achilles, no problem with rain. Hammett and Kagi are slowly building up damage. The animals are all fine. However, that completely changes when you go into the water. We're gonna go here and walk around. And we've discovered a ruin. So some of these ruins are abandoned, and some of these ruins are not abandoned. That one, yeah, I don't remember seeing it. Oh, you're right, my mercenaries aren't gonna. So, I have all these mercenary protectors, and they're fighting the iron spiders, which is silly, because they run at 11 miles an hour. Anyone can, like, a baby bull can outrun it as long as it's not too heavy. He's gonna die. So, but some of these have good stuff in them, some of them don't. A lot of the ones in this area don't. Some of the ones in, where is it? The Floodland have good stuff in them. It's sort of like hit or miss. Like the ones down here in the Ashland, those have good stuff. But it's like, it depends on where you're going and where you are. Like, these two are gonna die out here. And I don't know if I can pick up. That's okay. You can't do it with one arm. I pick you up. Yes. You're my ally. And I pick you up. Alright. So, I'm gonna do these guys a favor. We're going to the city. So, I normally don't bother to do this, but I can just walk in here, put these guys in a bed, and they'll stay in the bed until they heal. And then once they heal, they'll come and get me because they're on, commission or whatever. And they'll heal a lot quicker in the bed. And also this way they won't, like, fucking die. No, don't swim. Don't swim. It's all impassable. Is this impassable? How do I get there? Can I walk it? No, I can't walk it. I'm gonna have to do this the shitty way. Okay. So, thankfully I have all these bodyguards. I'm almost certain that one's protected. So, you can swim across, you're gonna take damage, and some of our members have very slow swim speed, if I remember right. Yeah, his swimming is really bad. Some of the other guys are doing some of the others are doing a bit better, but he really struggles to build up swim speed because he's getting a negative from the one arm, and that will this always be a problem with him because of all the robot limbs. So this one is broken. It doesn't work at all. All of these are broken. So I'm guessing some of these aren't. And that's part of what makes this map difficult is part of the map difficult. This one giant map is some of those hostile, some of those aren't. And also these guys. So the broken models are difficult to deal with. And they have turrets. And I'm just going to come over here and let my mercenaries deal with the problem. For the most part. And then ideally I'd like to capture these guys. I think I'm gonna go over here, alright? Huh. That mercenary's down. I'm going to put down you guys out of the rain. I'm gonna come up here because crossbow is scary. And actually, you guys come over. Oh wait, they're coming off the crossbow. You're on the crossbow still? Yeah. Deal with him. So, Evie took a hit, and the Brown's taking a hit. Crossbows are scary. So, these guys have fragment axes. They have big swings, very confined area. You can't really micro these very easily, right? But they have no armor. And right now, what I'm worried about is I don't want them to get on the crossbows. Oh, he's getting on the crossbow. Okay, he's getting on the crossbow. Like, I want the mercenaries to deal with them, but I also know if I leave these guys alone, the mercenaries aren't going to deal with them very well. But I'm taking too much damage. I'm just going to run away with the mercenary fences because some of this damage is really starting to pack up, and I want to be able to carry some of these all. Actually, you come over here with your one arm. Steal it. Look at 7.5k. It's a fragment axe. Look at that damage. It's like insane. Okay, so we got one. That was a mercenary. Yeah, a lot of these mercenaries are gonna die out here. Like, for real. I'm gonna loot all these guys. And it's just like... Come on. Trade. I can click trade, and then it's like, no, you're out of range. What? And then save. Alright. That's kind of tempting. That's a Mark III. That's much better than what he has. I think. Yeah. So, pros and cons. Mark III can only be used two-handed, alright? It weighs 43 kilos, putting him overweight. But he will eventually get that back. And we're going to be moving slow for a while. But I plan to be moving slow for a while anyway. So, next. Let's see. Who has the best stats of these guys? Your dodge is not too good. Yours is a little bit better. You have a weapon. Uh-oh. Pick up. This is annoying. Pick up. Put down. Loot. That one is at... Okay. He is a mercenary, so... 3, 26, 14, 35. That's identical. And then the other one had like less dodge, right? And then... some of... Do they have... Yeah. Okay. Oh, and do any of these have missing limbs? Fun fact, robots can lose limbs too. I'm just going to pick up you. You already have. And then... pick up you. They all seem to be fairly similar. And trade with Jolteon. Alright, so you can have one. You already have one. You, and yeah, I'll keep that one. Alright. Go to EV, get that in here. Okay. So. Repair. So now, medic, splint, up to robotics first. So, medic, robotics, splint. That is in order. So, robotics means if I have a robot, right, I will fix that robot before I start splinting limbs. Because if that robot is like bleeding out of blood, which is oil, right? If that bleeds out, they die. So now, repair. Alright. Repair. 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 Okay. So now we're gonna fix up these robots a bit. As the fight continues and all of our people go down. Because that's okay, they're mercenaries. And I'm right now mostly concerned with this one's got better defense. Somebody is dropping one. Let's see. Yeah, I'm thinking Hammett has one that has a lower defense. But I'm surprised at how many of our people have gone down. But, this guy's got 26. I got 26, 14, and then, yeah. Hammett, put yours down. Fuck him. There is better ones to loot. Or keep. Then come up here. You are not the good one. Good one was somewhere else. That one. The other one I'm keeping. Oh, yeah. Makes sense, he has the better sword. Pick up. And this is when it makes sense to turn on the help allies and heal allies. Alright. So this will do medic stuff, but not combat stuff. Also, loot that guy. He should not have a sword. And that one's not one of the better ones. This would be, there wasn't one over here, he's probably already down. Yeah, he's down. Whipping an acid, that's smart. That's a better one. Alright. Gonna come here, get out of the way, make sure the ones that we already have decided to keep are being healed. Yes. So, you are, yeah, repair, repair, repair. The purpose of all this is we fix up these robots, we keep them from dying, we put them in jail cells, we get them to work for us. That's the plan. Because A, the robots, they don't eat. This is great. B, the robots, they're fine with acid rain. C, the robots, like, they have some decent stats. Well, this is not, but like, they will have decent stats. And also then we can loot stuff. I'm somewhat concerned about this guy getting up, but I do have a lot of mercenaries all over me. He's rebooting, meaning he's not critical anymore. He is critical. There. Everyone focus on this critical one because I don't want it to die on me. That one's dying. I just think of robots as dying. Anywho, this is one of the hard parts of this area, is you have to navigate all these acid rivers. You can go through it, but it's going to take a lot of damage. And if you try to go around it in some places, you'll find basically death traps. Like, look at how many tech hunters and people went down everywhere. And then these guys keep getting back up even after you take their weapons and, oh look, a mounted crossbow, now they're doing damage again. Which makes looting it difficult and dangerous. And acid rain, so if somebody falls somewhere annoying, they're just going to constantly take acid damage until they die. If somebody falls into the water, they're going to die. Anywho, this is gonna take a hot minute because none of my people have repaired robots before. And they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Repair. So he just got hit by a crossbow. So that's this guy earlier. I was like, hey, you could get back up. Crazy. So swords this long existed, and they had very long handles like this, but they weren't this wide. This wide and this heavy is not a thing. Like, some of my heaviest swords are around 2.2 pounds. And I only have like single-handed swords, but it sort of gives you and like I have like around 100, mostly antiques, so like give you an idea of like weight ranges. And there are heavier swords out there. It's a very interesting and complicated topic. I'll say that about like what ranges were used. That's 40C. But how to TLDR it. Wait, yes. Repair. How to heal up. So on the upper range, some things are bearing swords, some things are not bearing swords. And a bearing sword is not a sword that was actually used. Some of them are well documented as bearing swords. A lot of them are not well documented as bearing swords. And that's something that needs a lot more study. We've have very few examples that have good documentations from museums saying, hey, this is a sword with bearing sword that was never used. And very few people have gotten the chance to actually hold these swords and handle these swords and like see what the weights are. And there's lots of people talking about like, hey, here's information about this. But when you try to figure out like where did that information come from, a lot of the time it's some guy. You know what? Evie will be pack leader, and yeah, this way I can allow these guys to move apart from the others. Where did that robot go when he went down? He's here. Alright. So we got you, you're hurt, you're a lot of that information you try to figure out where it came from, and you're not going to find any information about where it came from. It's just like somebody said it, and there's a lot of information that's like unsubstantiated, right? But there is a lot of stuff that is substantiated, and there's a lot of stuff where what happens is you like to think that every museum in the world, like they have great records, and some of them, like the British, museum, like been around for centuries, right? Or at least the Wallace collection's been around for centuries. Well, yeah, it has been around for centuries. It's not all that. That's not as long as some of the collection has been under other names, but very, very long history. You like going to school, learning about stuff, seeing things in books and seeing things labeled. You think, oh, well, this has all this information about it. They must have some, great records from wherever, right? And that's true for some stuff. But that some stuff is a minority of stuff in museums because in reality, there's been different levels of professionalism throughout hundreds and hundreds of years, right? And a lot of stuff is like, well, this belonged to this guy, and then he owned it to this guy who sold it to that guy, and it's changed hands many times. And not every time it's changed hands, that person it changed hands to has collected all the provenance and like kept all the records. And sometimes they do keep records, but sometimes those records are questionable. Like the Wallace collection named after the sword of William Wallace, and modern day research, we look at it and find out, well, this isn't one sword, it's made of pieces from multiple swords. How much that is repair work? Well, we don't know because we don't have documentation of repair work. We don't have documentation of a lot of this stuff. We have it labeled as a sort of William Wallace, but like we're not really 100% sure how true that is. And it's sort of like a big question because it's been like 1,000 years, or not quite, but you know what I mean? Like, or maybe it has been 1,000 years. I don't know. I'd have to actually look at it. I don't memorize all the dates. But point of this weird rant is that a lot of what we know and what we think we know is less 100% fact when it comes to history, and more this is our best guess. And a lot of stuff needs a lot of more research, but a lot of stuff is also stuff where it needs more research, and there's not really a good way to get that research and get that information because it's been so long or whatever. Loot. Alright, so you can't pick that lock. Can't pick that lock. If I remember right, I think Beep had the best lock picking. Yeah. But so if Beep can't pick it, and can we use tools? No. Alright. Don't we have some sort of tools? No. Yes, we do. Alright. Beep is now the tool man. I probably only need one of these, and It'd be a shame I can't use a grind machine or an angle grinder. That's an angle grinder. I have a couple of them. Like, it's a shame I can't use the angle grinder to then grind a lock open. That'd be so cool. I mean, you don't have any tools. So this is gonna take a while. Battery bank. That is the plate beating station. There's never anything at the plate beating station. I just like to check it. Because, like, in theory, there could be. Mercenary heavy. He's gonna die. Nothing in that one. This is a factory, basically. Not gonna be able to pick that one. Once you get higher level lock picking, you can pick these things. Also, we're inside of a building, so it doesn't sew very well. But we have a roof. This is why I'm not super concerned about these getting any kind of acid damage, because the roof protects us. Thankfully. It'd suck if it didn't. Like, this place takes forever to lock it. It's unpickable. Yes, 90%. You know what? I shouldn't have you do that, so have Beep do that. So Beep can get more experience. Because if he gets more experience, he might be able to pick some of the better locks. Okay. So, not a whole lot. Gonna have Achilles come out here. He's in a coma. He's not dead yet. Think yeah, he's dead. I'm gonna loot that captain. He's been dead. Let's see. He's gonna start taking acid damage, I think. Huh? He's not. That's weird. Alright. 100%. Should be able to just take this stuff. He's dead. Alright. Actually, not horrible. And they're not objecting to it. Okay, good. If he wasn't dead, they would probably object to it. And okay, you're dying. Your recovery coma, your recovery coma, your recovery coma. The ones who are exposed to acid will eventually die. Like him. Or the guy in the river. What I could do if I was like a complete asshole is just pick up all the wounded people, drop them in the river, let them die. That's an option. I won't. There's no negative consequences from that other than now these people are dead and no longer bodyguarding me. But that's, I don't think I'm going to do that. Could, but nah. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to fit that in here. Alright. You. Trade to flare out. Keep Jolteon fairly empty. This is, yeah, he is dying from acid. And Achilles, that guy's normal with, so double-edged sword, right? If I drop one of these guys, if Hammer gets knocked down, he goes down. This guy is also going to get up, and he's basically full health now and alive. So that could be a problem. And he's committing a crime, right? But it's a bulgari, and this belongs to Ancient Ruins, which belongs to the, what's we call it? The Empire people. Huh. or not. It's its own separate thing. But the point is, Ancient Ruins faction, it's not really a faction. There's nobody there to care, and nobody's allied with it. So anyone can just do this, and it's fine. No one's gonna aggro you. It is gonna take a while though, like a while. Also, because that captain's dead, some of these mercenaries is gonna like up and leave eventually. Oh, you can't get hit by those lightning bolts. Just heads up, that'll suck. Achilles, come loot that heavy. Alright. Go to Flareon. Let's see. Okay. I think all the other ones will get better. Alright, you are not getting acid, right? You're getting better? I think it's this one is the last one. Yeah, he's already dead. Get this, get that. Yeah, 53 is not worth the space. This is, some of the stuff is maybe not worth the space. Right now, trade here. A little bit. Okay, trade. Alright, so here's looted this. So we got a ancient science book. This is pretty valuable. And these are not something you can easily buy. Anywhere really. There's maybe a few places. I can think of 2 maybes you could buy them. And pick this. Alright. So engineering resources also, you definitely can't buy that anywhere. Apparently I missed the box. Loot. Alright. And then we got a ton of lockbox over here. Oh, I can pick this one. And I'm not super concerned about those mercenaries because what am I gonna do, right? The captain's dead. Like I can't. Oh, wait. This one does have a captain. Okay. But I'm thinking. No, there's 5 left in this group. It's worth it. 2. They're a bit beat up, but it's worth it. Great. Oops, a bit heavy. Alrighty, dump. Alright, so let's play around, alright? Gonna keep some of this research, because even though we're not gonna have a real base, we might want to research some things so that we can get robot repair beds in our city, which is basically going to be like a bar, but a bar we don't pay for. And yeah, I think that's it. So over here, might be able to shove a few things in. Alright. Back to looting. So before, a lot of these were 0%, and this wasn't, and the other one wasn't. But he now has, well, slightly better lockpicking. That might have helped. A lot of these like little things where it's like, that one, nothing. Alright. So the way lockpicking works, every fail increases XP. Every success increases XP a lot. and difficulty of the lock affects it. So the more difficult it is, the better for EXP. Then, unless there's any more lockdowns over here. Let's stay over here. Alright. I could use tools on that one. Can't pick that one. Can only loot. Yeah. Yes, you do. Wait, no, you, yeah, do. I might have also accidentally traded some away. See any? Don't see any. Okay, I guess that's that one. So, couldn't do on this one, do on that one. Probably this one. I have no idea which one is, useful or not useful. So I'm just gonna guess. And this does use up tools. I'm not sure if it's 1-to-1, it might be less than 1-to-1 or more. I don't remember. Oof. So the other mercenary guild that's left, and that's the one where the captain's dead. And, oh, apparently I can talk to him, but not the other guys. But they're all going in different directions. You know what? Go talk to that guy. I'm not gonna do what he's doing, which is stupid. Okay. I can just hire that one mercenary. It looks like the whole group disbanded, and they're going different directions. And these recovery coma guys will get up eventually. Anywho. Yeah, museums are a fascinating subject, and history is a fascinating subject, and we need to really look at where this information is coming from for a lot of this stuff. And like find the original source of this stuff, and like this is sourced from this thing, was sourced from that thing, and like track it all down. It was like the famous YouTube video where this guy heard a poem and he was trying to track down the history of this poem and where it came from. And it was like he went this huge long, like it took him like, ooh, this is okay, this is huge. So this is the 20 kilo thing I was talking about, the generator core. It's extremely valuable, but not for what you're saying. It's extremely valuable for using for weights, basically. So some of these things stack, and I can put in here. Some of these things don't. So I'm not going to sell this because it's useful as a training tool. And I'm going to keep a lot of these repair kits because they're useful since I'm about to have a robot limb. And then get rid of this. Alright, so this place is looted. So, priority here, get out of the acid. Get to the city. Oh, never mind, I'll fight one of those. Okay. We have 2 people actually suffering from acid damage. And that guy, he's gonna die. So, I don't want to risk too much damage happening here. I will send you to loot. Okay. So right now we have a fair amount of valuable, stuff, and things like these fragment axes are worth a ton of money. Uh, Stuff like these robotic components worth a ton of money. Uh, these pretty good, 3K, right? So like a lot of this stuff is worth decent chunk of chains. That one is not a lot. And Kagi is going slow because he's still carrying that robot, and he also has the fragment axe. But he's getting a lot of strength EXP. It's good. And that's going to increase his strength, right? This is going to increase his carrying capacity until at some point he's just running normal speed. But also can now carry the fragment axe. So, now that we have these robots and we're about to get some better gear and robot armor, all this other stuff, we can think about where to go next, right? Well, we have these robots. We want to recruit these robots. Where do we recruit these robots? Well, we need somewhere with either we can build jail cells and put them in, right? Or we need somewhere where we can. I'm fairly certain the Robot City robots are hostile to these robots, so it's fine just walking in here. Just in case. Anyway. So we need somewhere that either has jail cells we can just put them in and do the whole, hey, you want to join us, right, thing. Or, it's robotic shops here. Where to first? Probably the bar. We can get rid of some weight. Hello. Alright. And he's out of money. So, fun thing, it's a bar. He's a skeleton. This is Skeleton City. They have fuel. They have electrical components. They have alcohol, robotic repair kits. That's it. They don't have food. So we have Skeleton Diplomatic Pacifier. So if I talk to him and I be like, hey, let's be friends. We have Razor. He is a bounty, worth 10k, but he's not wanted by the local faction. So I could take him, I think it's either Empire or pretty sure it's the Empire want him, and maybe also the Holy Nation. But even though he's an outlaw, I can't attack him here because that'll cause a fight. So it gets complicated, and sort of he's decent stats, and he's a decent fighter. It's sort of like they're really worth it, and also everyone who can carry someone is already carrying someone. Oh, Sad Neil. And then we have Sad Neil. Sad Neil is a unique NPC. Hello, organic. Another organic one. Must be the trillionth person I've met. You all blend in, one after a few hundred years, etc. Basically, sounds like you'd enjoy more if you left. Then don't. You want me to go out there? How dangerous! I hate you. Go on. I hate my life. So Sad Neil is, surprise, surprise, a sad character. And he's sort of the depressed robot who is maybe not loosely or not so loosely based off of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and the other sad robot. He'll get here eventually. So his stats, not amazing, but he's a free robot, and he costs nothing, and he's got a ton of voice lines. Tessie. So Tessie's little bit crazy. Some of these skeletons are a little bit crazy. That's okay. That's okay. Welcome. A human? Show me what you got. Alright, so this is the best robot limb shop in the game. You can get some really good stuff. These are industrial lifter arms, and that's a left, and I believe I need a left. So that is what I'm here for. So, negative lockpicking, negative thievery, negative swimming. Increased unarmed damage, plus 23% strength, right? This is huge. So, definitely what I want. Okay, I have to wait to put that until like out of the shop. So, other useful things, right? You have scout leg, 38% increased athletic, and that's stacks. So if you have two of these, that's that's crazy. That's plus 76, 76%. So you can almost double your speed, almost, right? And that's with a masterwork. It's a KLR series. So initially looking at these, you think give you negative stealth, negative swimming. What's the point? Max HP. These things have 290 max HP, right? 145. So double the HP is the point of these things. They don't break easy, right? Yeah, stealth legs, increased stealth, slight increase in athletics. You could go a stealth and a scout, and you have increase of stealth and increase of athletics. So there's -8 plus 18, so you get plus 10%, and then plus 41%. So if you go one of each, you're positive in both, and you're only negative in swimming by like a lot. But still, like, it's useful. And then there is where are you? The sea farms. Sea farms. Sea farms help with lock creating, thievery, dexterity, hurt swimming. So dexterity is a useful stat. Strength is very good for determining attack speed with heavier stuff, but also damage, especially with martial arts, right? And also inventory, which means how much armor you can have on as well. Dexterity is blocking and attack speed, and also cutting damage, right? So if I'm using something with cutting damage like a katana, dexterity is really important, or like a naginata. If I'm using something like, oh, I don't know, fragment axe, it's not that important. So with whether strength or dex matters more based on whether cutting or blunt damage is the thing it does. So this is more of a dex weapon, but strength still effective. Right? For him, the dexterity for the sea farm would be useful, and it's not even like a really good one. It's not real quick, and boom, 195 HP because it's the good one. All right, masterwork, the best of the best, and strength stat is now going up. So my inventory now lightweight, and when I hit things, it does more damage. Show me what you got. Alright. So do you have, yeah, you do have, okay, it's looking for a masterwork sea farm. Do you have any masterwork? Sea industrial lifter. Kill our industrial lifter. Industrial lifter. Yeah, not seeing any masterwork sea farms. Oh, no. That's also steady or good for sniping. Yeah. I don't think any masterwork. Okay, so they don't have any masterwork thieves, right? Thieves in stock, unfortunately. I can't sew them all, but pretty good for decks. So my go-to is the industrial, and the reason for that is the increase in strength means you have a increase in carry weight, which means you can have more heavier armor on and still move at your normal speed. You can have more loot and still move at your normal speed. And being able to move quickly while having, geared up is very important to being able to evade fights And being able to run away from a fight you can't win is going to save you more than doing uh like more damage with one particular weapon or another based on whether you use the lifter or the thief arm or the steady arm. And the KLR series are very good for being able to take a lot of hits because they have really high stats, and there are pros and cons to that. So, where the Masterwork KLR and nuts. Yeah. So, pros and cons of that, right? It doesn't increase any of your stats. It's very, very bulky. The armor you have on can affect it as well. So, like, if you have like armor that has 100% leg coverage and you're wearing this, and it's like good armor, it'll take a lot less damage, and that allows you to take a ton of hits and just keep fighting forever. So there's basically sort of like two straps. You take a lot of hits and do less damage, or you take less hits but you do a lot more damage. So KLR are more focused for the more defensive strategy, while something that's more focused to like speed and strength is more focused to or speed and dexterity is more focused to damage and being able to run around and evade fights and only take the fights you want to take. So this is better if you can't reliably escape fights, or if you want to be more like of a defensive, like I'm gonna guard a base and I can't run away from my base or whatever. While this is more useful on the road, running around, getting places, and being able to carry stuff and not weigh you down too much, and still have some increased severity stats that are useful, in my opinion. Uh, the KLR stuff can be very useful later in the game once you already have very high stats and you have like the best armor and everything, because that just increases your durability more, and the increase in stuff starts like it matters more the higher level you are, but at a certain point it's like everyone you're fighting is so much lower stat, not that big of a deal. And having the increased durability can become a very big deal when you're fighting like lots and lots and lots of enemies, right? Because it makes it harder to wear you down. Um, One of the big differences with robot limbs is you can't wear shoes, and that can, matter if you're using it for increased athletics. But like, Beep no wear shoes, Achille no wear shoes. And the other thing about it is repairing these limbs at a certain point, it only repairs so much, and at a certain point you need to get to a uh, robotics repair place. So plan now is we do kind of want to suck up on limbs so we don't have to come back here for a while. Focus would be more on legs and arms, because legs means we could travel quickly, arms means we can carry more stuff, and you can always use a one-handed weapon. You can't always get someone to carry you. Actually, yeah. Hello. I know I just sold you some stuff and you now have money. Do you want to not have money? Yes. That's garbage. Toss, 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 toss. Uh, you know what? I'll keep you pants and all. So one of the things about robots is there's not many slots. Some robots can wear helmets, I think, but not all of them. And it just sort of depends on like how that robot's built. Like one with unusual head, for instance, like Achilles has an unusual head. Not so much. I don't remember how much armor they have at the next place I'm going to show you. So I'm going to keep that for now and sell it there if I have to. Or want to. Yeah. So he's going to get there eventually. I think eventually someone else is going to have to carry that guy in front of Kaguya. but I'm just taking a minute to use him carrying that guy to level up strength. Because if he can get a higher strength, that means he's gonna be able to move quicker when he has thus the sword. And when he has thus the sword, he's not getting the double EXP that he's getting now from having to carry a person. So it's slightly more efficient this way, long term. Alright. So this is the best arms facility in the game. It is a giant, this calls the crap out. This is a giant robotic factory set up forever ago that is entirely staffed by robots. And it's crazy. Talk to. Hello, Quinn. Welcome, dear human. Welcome, dear. Please excuse the mess, etc. Show me what you got. So, the reason this is the best is have really good stuff. So this is Edgewalker type 3. Look at that damage. Ah. And it also costs like 33k. But they also have masterwork old bows. They have lots of type 3 stuff. I think they might have one or two of the what do they call it? Can't remember anymore. This Edgewalker 3s you can't make. So you can, this is like, if they have one, like you're never gonna find a better one other than there's one specific type of weapon that's like the best of it. There's only one of it in the entire world. I can't remember what it's called. Not Edgewalker. It's named after Vinox. I'm blanking. Anywho. So now look at stats. So he got strength, right? So he's better using something strength-wise with that arm. But also you don't want to be too heavy, right? These guys haven't specified, but they are using katanas, so you can just keep using katanas, or like something like a Naginata katana, which pretty similar, more reach, slightly different stats. Let's see, we got an Edgewalker 2 Naginata katana. And the Naginatas are very similar. In real life, I've never seen a Naginata katana. I have seen some Naginatas. They're more rare, and from what I've read, they're used mostly by like monks and other like warrior monks and like other like specialized stuff. It's more of a niche weapon, and harder to use. But the bonus of having the katana blade is it's a wider striking like amount, which gives you so if you're fighting someone with a pull on, right? And you don't have a pull on. You have a normal sword. They can attack you before you can attack them, right? Because longer weapon. But as they get closer to you, that sort of starts to go the other way around, where you're attacking with the end of the weapon, and they're close enough that you can't easily use the end of the weapon. So you have to like, instead of holding it towards the back of the weapon, you have to hold it toward the middle, toward the front of the weapon, and it becomes more difficult for you to use it. And that long shaft can sort of get in your way. With a Naginata katana, you can still hold it from like the back or the middle, but you don't really hold it with the front because the blade is so much longer. You have so much area you can cut with. It allows you to, in that distance where it's like going from long range to middle, you can still do middle holding it in the same place just as well, and you don't really have to change anything. So that just gives you more ability to hit without really changing anything, without messing up your attack, like moving your hands, right? You don't have to like reposition your hands and take that second or whatever. Just change your grip before continuing to attack or defend or whatever. And you can just keep on like hit as quick as you can to try to keep them from closing that distance, where they start to have more advantage. But the trade-off is if you're using like a wood shaft, wood is lighter than steel, right? So you have more steel, therefore more weight, and also more weight at the end of the weapon. And also the other trade-off is wood is you can make it thicker and while still being light. And if you have it all steel, you still have problems, and that's why in some places like the Middle East and India, they started to have like wood coated with a thin bit of metal so that the wood could flex, the iron could flex, but the iron would flex and not flex back unless it was spring hardened, but they never spring hardened salve. And the wood could flex and would flex back, and you didn't have to do anything about that. So if the wood completely cracked and broke, the steel would keep it from like actually deforming too much. It'd deform it a little bit, right? If you took like a crazy hit, but it kind of stick together, or at least like to a degree, right? And past that degree, like nothing you do is gonna stop it, right? But like basically taking the two and putting together, you get something better. But with this approach, you have lots of blade and you have a two-handed grip. It's sort of like more like using like a two-handed sword. Uh, the the weight is less well balanced than in a naginata, and there's more of it closer to them, and also because it's a it's a katana basically, it's not going to be spring tempered, meaning that it's easier for the blade to break. Uh, the blade is harder, blade is stronger, but the blade has less give. It can't bend, and if it does bend, it'll snap easily. And with a spring steel blade, it can bend, so the amount of energy it takes to cause damage to it is significantly more, even though it's a softer metal, because that bend and bend back allows it to lose a lot of that force that's directed at it. So it takes significantly more force because physics, yay. And as a result, these longer blades were more fragile, but and all because like it didn't have all this wood that could bend connected to it. So this bit couldn't bend. This bit could bend. So you have more bendable bits that can't in this one that can sort of take some of that energy away from the attack. Well, over here you don't have that, so it's all directed at the steel, and if it gets enough, it'll break. Especially if it's at the right, like, if you hit it at the edge, it'll be stronger. If you hit it at like the flat of the blade, it'll be weaker. So hitting it at the and with long polearms like that, you're gonna take hits to the flat of the blade sometimes. So like this was more durable, which is probably why it became standard, not this, is because the durability means, hey, like this is probably not gonna break in combat, and like this for a Naginata is huge blade. Normally, you much sort of. But yeah, I'm rambling. Anyway, I like swords. Uh, Jites are real. Real Jites are really tiny and are essentially like batons. So this is not historic. Like it wouldn't be as long as like these sorts of things. It would be like a Wakazashi. Uh, but they were cool, and there was also Juch and another type which I can't remember the name for it, and it's like this, but the tip is like pointy. And a lot of these sometimes are like this, sometimes they're like more like a sai, where it's like that weird curve, and they're cool. They also have like much sort of handles, much sort of blades. Essentially, it's like a police weapon. It's like a baton that can also have a guard that can grab an enemy sword and like trap it, or like a limb and trap it, or whatever. Um, Foreign sabers are interesting. I like them because they give you a defensive bonus, and not a lot of weapons do. And that's kind of anyway. I haven't really decided what weapons to use. I haven't really put that much thought into it. Only the cool thing is they have a lot of research here. So like I'm pretty sure like foreign sabers are the only place you can get in the game. And I don't know about all of this. Peeler machine is an important one. I definitely need peeler machine. Uh, Long story. And I definitely want this because the Ashlands is not somewhere you want to run around in. But yeah, I'm not gonna be making weapons and armor. It's tempting, but nah. That's like this sort of thing. Like you can do it, but it's gonna take you a lot of time. And in this series, I'm not gonna mess around with it because for a couple reasons. Because one, I want to show that like you don't need to do this, and so many people get like caught up in the base building their campaign, like it takes forever, and then they never get anything else done because it gets stuck in the campaign for all of eternity. I want to get like an Edwalker 3 katana, but I'm only seeing the guard list. Probably some Edwalker 3 no dotsies. I might get an Edwalker 2, but I really want to get 3. Okay. Okay. So, Achilles, do I want Achilles to have it? No, I want Hammett to have the Edwalker 2. Yeah. Hammett's gonna get an Edwalker 2. And he's got a Wakadasi. I wish I could get a Wakadasi. We don't have a lot of Wakadasis here, sadly. Sad. Alright. There is an Edwalker 2 katana over here. And it does fit in that slot. So I think I'll just keep this because it's like 1 kilo. And I think I will toss both of these and give him. Well, this is kind of tempting, but it's basically. Well, side by side. Normally, I always go the guard over the guard list, right? Because you're. But the difference in quality. Let's go guardless for once. You know what? Achilles, giving that to Boop. You're moderate. Alright. And he's currently using Fragment Act. Do I want him to keep using that Fragment Act? Also, AI cores, extremely valuable. This is one of the only places you can buy the whole game. They're for research, right? This is for research, engineering research. These are for research, and basically you use that in. So you create a research bench, you do research. You know, you say, hey, I want to do this. It's going to take so much hours. It needs stuff. This one needs books. And then as you level up stuff, you get better and better things that need, more than just books. You need advanced science books, or you need engineering research, or AI course. Alright. What to do with him? On one hand, I want to do strength. On the other hand, I want to have a distance weapon. He is moving very slow, though. And we are going to be carrying those guys for a while. That is a really nice fragment axe, although there are probably better ones here. Ooh, there's also a pallet prop. That's only 25 kilos, too. That's kind of tempting, because it's very good against robots, and it's also got very good armor penetration. Not good against humans, but the armor penetration, like against armored humans, is more than makes up for it. And it is as Walker 3. So Falling Suns can be really cool. They only have an Walker 1 though. So Falling Suns I like because they're sort of like a Paladin cross, but for animals. They're very good against doing damage to animals, especially leviathans was great. Gorillos and beakstings. Beakstings is the important one. Gorillos, they're annoying, but you only gonna see them in a few places. Leviathans you're gonna hunt for. And if you're not hunting for them, you're not gonna see them almost ever. There's very few places they spawn. Beakstings are everywhere. Beakstings you're gonna run into, and beakstings fucking suck. The main problem with it is it does weigh a lot, and they only have a 1. But it does very good cutting and blunt damage. And it does have an indoor penalty. But it's very good against big things. Like, it doesn't fuck up the big things. So that's sort of tempting. Now the heavy weapon for our new guy. I could do that instead of the fragment axe. But damage wise, this thing does more in total. Unless you're doing it. Yeah, and then it's the same indoor penalty. So it's a very similar weapon that weighs less and does better against the exits. That is tempting. And this is only doing better because this is not a very high, like this is a Mark III. This is an Edgewalker. Like, huge difference. I'm not too worried about robots now. Eventually I will be when I go to the Ashland. But that's not for a while. Hmm. Don't think I need to worry about that yet. Stats can be useful. Their blunt damage are mostly useful because they can attack pretty quickly. And because they only do blunt damage, they're great for going after people you don't want to kill when you're higher level. But, like, and they're also decent defense and cheap. So, like, this is only, like, 8k, right? But the damage it's doing is, like, comparable to, like, a decent no dodgy at, like, a fraction of the cost. So if you get here and you don't, like, I don't have money, I can't afford anything, that might be a decent option, like a decent Edgewalker staff, because it's not that heavy, right? It's a two-handed weapon, does blunt damage, it gives you attack bonus, like, it's not very expensive, it has a decent amount of reach, and because you can attack with eyes aside, your character can attack and defend with it very quickly. Like, animation speed matters. Like, weight matters. Because a lot of this is, like, very, like, it's hit based, right? So, like, if it touches you, it hits you. And did it, like, do I attack? Do I block? Do I defend? A lot of it based on, like, the animations of how quickly do I attack? How quickly do I move around? And that sort of stuff isn't in the numbers. And it is hard to understand and put into context unless you've, like, actually studied the weapons. And that's, like, assuming all this works as it would in real life for, like, the attack animals and stuff. And a lot of it isn't. Like, even if you have a really heavy fallen sun, what you can do is basically just hold it somewhere above your head, and when you attack at somebody, gravity plus the strength of it, if you hit them and if they go to block, right, they're not going to be able to stop it. It's like trying to stop a car, right? Like, it's just going to keep going, and either it's going to push their sword or whatever into them, and then keep going, cutting into you, or it's going to go through the sword. Because, you know, like, when you have, like, a 24 kilogram, right, or 25, or, you know, 43 kilogram sword hitting something, like, besides it being, like, completely ridiculous and super slow. And I do like how they really show off is very slow to move these things around, block, and whatever. That's, like, a big problem with using them, is, like, you're gonna get hit all the time. But that's where the KLR stuff starts to make sense. If you use KLR stuff and a really big, heavy weapon like a fragment axe, you can get hit all the time. It doesn't matter all that much. You don't need to block. And then you swing the fragment axe around, big AoE attack, lots of damage. So that's something where it would make sense, where faster, lighter weapons. Yeah. Anyway. I do like Dodges because they attack very quickly, and they have very wide attack ranges. I do like these things because basically same idea of Nodazzi, only much, much slower, which sucks. But because it's so good against beak stings, it's worth having some of them around just to deal with beak stings. Anywho, we need to get Sad Nye something, or Sad Neil. And he doesn't have a lot of weight. If I remember right, as a robot, he has a -2, right? Don't they have a -2 katanas, right? Like the racial bonuses. Uh, that's going to quickly. I don't think there's anywhere in game I can find that stat. Off the top of my head, unless I'm recruiting one. But robot traits kenshi. Skeleton race. Yes. Alright. So they have increased experience and statistics in heavy weapons, robotics, and turrets. And pretty sure they have a negative. It's not if I get in the wiki. Almost certain they have a negative to katanas. You know what? View source. It actually has the code of the game in here. Not seeing it. Maybe I'm confusing with something. Let's see. Hivers, view source. Trivia. I am not seeing the useful stuff here. Hey, I don't think it was. It might have been Shek. I might be confusing Shek. Don't you have a decrease? Yeah, no, that's mentioning it. I'm almost certain it's robots who have a negative to katanas. Not sure where I'd find this in the game other than when you're recruiting them. Alright. Hmm. Where would that be? Where would that be? Where would that be? No idea. I know you see it when you're like recruiting them and you're like creating a character and see all the stuff. But like right now, I'm not sure. Anywho, learned how to do peel and scene, which will be very important eventually. And map of the Ashlands. So Ashlands, very scary. Not going there anytime soon. Let's I think you have a bonus. Yeah. I think I'm gonna give this to Sad Neil. And then get Kaguya something else. Haven't decided what yet. I'm kind of tempted for Sad Neil. Oh, you know what? Yeah. That fragment axe is just objectively worse than a falling sun. I could just give a falling sun to Sad Neil. It is but still a heavy weapon. And it's lighter. to get the mark, whatever, fallen sun. Where did it go? Might have moved stuff around since I sold these and things. Yeah. Is Ed's one? Is there? Yeah. So Ed Walker won. So it's heavy, but it's objectively better than every fragment axe I have the option to buy, right? Because all they got is like Mark 3s. So if you add up the damage, right? Both -6 to indoors. This one has the bonus to animals, right? It weighs less, and it's if you add the blunt and the cutting, it's doing 2.56 versus like what is that? 3.37. So yeah, it's like huge difference in damage in the favor of Fallen Sun, and it's 50-50 basically, cutting blunt, not quite, but close enough, and it weighs less. So like all the stuff combined, and more damage to peak things. So all that stuff combines makes Fallen Sun better when they're both like about the same size, about this pretty similar animation, pretty similar usage. This is better. And maybe it'd be different if I could actually get like an Ed's 3 fragment axe, but that also would be like over double the weight. And this is something like there's so many pull-ons. Like I have a list of like the evolution of pull-ons, and there are hundreds of different types of pull-ons on that list. And we have heavy pull-on, and then we have polearm, and then we have 2 types of naginata and staffs, and that's it. We don't have a single spear in the game. There's so many spears. We don't have any halberds. Like this is essentially a glaive, so there's the sweetest thing. English word would be sword staff. Is used in like I think Denmark and Sweden and some other places. And they basically said sword staff with lots of weird letters like a V in there, like Svardistaff or something. And that from the illustrations we have of it, we don't have a single surviving example, but we have historical accounts of it and we have illustrations. It's essentially like a European arming sword on a stick. So it's like it's sort of like using a greatsword, except for it's a much less blade and much more grip. And it did have a small cross guard in some of the illustrations, and it didn't in some of the other ones. So it seemed to be essentially, we're going to take a sword blade and put it on a stick and put it on a long stick so that we kind of use it like a great sword, but you're only hitting with the end of it. But then you can space your hand around more without having to do what's called half blading, where you put your hand on the blade to get like farther apart grip, which can be useful for certain things. It's complicated. Anyway, one of the big advantages of this is, unlike a great sword, you can essentially use it like a spear much more easily against, say, horses, because it's less overall weight and you can move the point around quicker while holding it further back, as opposed to being so forward blade heavy. So if cavalry's charging you and you want to have that stick as far away from you as possible so that you can, offend the cavalry before they get into range to hurt you, or if they have lances, you can hit them back as soon as possible, or like try to like put their spears away as soon as possible, whatever, like interfere, right? And the spotter staff was better against that, where with a great sword it's a lot more difficult and tricky to try to use it like a spear to fend off cavalry who are charging you. But also it's cheap. Like that's what matters when you're making it an army of thousands and thousands. Anyway, random historical stuff, rants. I think Sad Neil's got this. I think I do want to replace this on him just because he is moving very slow and there's so many weapon categories. Something I would kind of like is a Desert Saber. It's also good against various types of animals and has a defensive bonus. It doesn't really have any negatives and it's not that heavy. So many types of sabers. Like this is kind of like a 1796, although it appears to be like a two-handed 1796. Like the blade is sort of 1796, like it's very wide. It's got like the deep guard, but the hand grips off, and the angle of the blade is off. There were some in the U.S. Made by a guy named Nathan Starr, who was one of the first U.S. contractors making swords for the army, and he would can't. Some people would describe it as a crooked blade or a crooked tang or crooked hilt or whatever, but the blades would come like this, and then bend so that the tip would be in line with the grip, and they're kind of crazy looking. I like them. And what that could mean is you could like twist your wrist a bit and move the blade quite a bit. And it trains the angle of attack, it trains lots of angles. It trains the how the blade felt in your hand instead of having the blade more centered, right? One side, like the edge side of the blade, is what felt a lot more heavy. So it's more like chopping with like a kukri or an axe than like a more traditional saber. Also the different things. Uh, so this is a little bit canted, but only a little bit canted. So it's like I've seen that on some like Tulwars and Arabic stuff, but you normally don't see it on like European sabers. So I guess that's what foreign is supposed to be, since so many Japanese weapons. But those are cool. Um, The moon cleavers I don't personally like all that much. They have great armor penetration, which is really good when you're fighting like lots of heavily armored stuff. But the overall damage is not that high, and it's most dangerous against robots. And like, who are you gonna fight that's a robot? Like this is like, and when is this gonna be a better option than like a paladin cross? Never. What to give that guy? Kind of, I kind of want to get a really good Naginata katana, but just not seeing any. Ring sabers can be useful, but they're just sort of like boring. They don't really have a lot of bonuses or negatives or like stuff about them. It's just yeah, like the ring and the hold sabers and like the horse choppers. It's like it's all sort of like the same thing, slightly different for the douse. It's slightly different douse, which you know dows are great, but like there's so many types of dows, and like it seems like all of these are essentially the same blade with slightly different decorations and hilts. Like, do I want rings on it? Do I want to drill a hole through it? Do I want to have a S curve? I want to put a ring on the end here. Like, the blade and edge and weight and length and all animations all identical. You know? Alrighty. To give? What to give El Kaguya? I never really liked Sword Cleavers all that much. Like anything that's specifically good against robots, other than the Paladin Cross. Because the Paladin Cross is just the best thing against robots. And so everything else just sort of seems like, why use this when I could do the cross? The Jites, they do a lot of blood. You know, they have good armor penetration, which is good. But they're also very heavy, and they don't give you a lot of range, like some of your other options. Let's see. Hey, he's here now. Okay. What to do? Tell me what you got. What to do? Did I? Yeah, he does not have armor, so that's good that I did get rid of it all. part of me wants to keep this, part of me wants to get rid of it because I know I might just store it in Eevee because I could sell it for a couple K. Buying a new one would be expensive, and it is usable quality. Yeah, I'll store it in Jolteon. Yeah. What to do? Could get them a Desert Saber. The Desert Saber seems like a very similar to all these other sabers. It's like objectively better. The blade on it is what we call a Yatagan, although it appears to be a Yatagan Dao, which is weird. Yatagan has like a very specific helps. There's another thing in India called a Sozan Patah, and that's very similar to a Yatagan, and like the Arabs started going to India in like I believe it was like 10th, 11th, 12th century, somewhere around there, was the first Arabic invasion into India. And then that lasted, I think in the 12th century, it was defeated by like a rebellion of some local uh, Indian people. And that was sort of like the first foray of Arabics taking over parts of India, and then later the Moguls and other stuff. But like, they were exposed to a lot to like the culture and the weapons and the technology and whatever of the Middle East. So like, yeah, I gotta sort of Ptah, like, what came first? I don't know, but like the one that came second, it's definitely influenced by the one who came first, you know. And I would I haven't delved deep into this topic, but like there are other forward curve blades like this going back quite a while, like in like ancient Greece and Macedon, and also Rome, and also like kukris, which I've already mentioned, all sorts of stuff. Hmm. I do want to give a pole arm that's not too heavy. I'm not seeing a lot of options for not too heavy pole arms other than that are like high quality. Hmm. Hmm. And I don't want to be messing around with like old world. Eagle Cross is sort of like the best one to use. But I don't want to be messing around with these because I don't have anyone who's really good at using these, and I don't want to accidentally suit my own people. That would suck, you know. So that training difficulty period is just like I just don't want to mess with it. Also, they're fairly heavy. You have to deal with all the ammunition. For now, I just don't want to mess around with that whole thing. Ideally, eventually, I go over to the Sniper Valley, get some snipers. Ah, that's probably the best Nagana katana they have. And, or Nagana, what is better than that? It's Nagana katana. So, weight is 4. That's a big plus, right? It's not going to fit into 2 slot, only in weapon 1 slot. You got decent amount of cutting and blunt damage, right? You don't have very good armor penetration. You got attack bonus, indoor penalty. Yeah, anything this big can have an indoor penalty. Uh, and it's good against humans and it's good against animals, but not robots. And I'm not too worried about fighting robots. The good against humans and animals is more of a big deal to me, at least for now. And if at some point I want him to do something else, I could change him to a different full arm. Like, if I could find like something like this, where it's like, yeah, or but better quality. Hmm. Probably this is the standard problems because the armor penetration. They both have armor penetration. Anyway, I think that's pretty good. The one thing I'm worried about is I kind of wish I had a short sword for Sad Neil and him, but I don't want to spend too much money here because I want to get some limbs. Like maybe I should have moved stuff to have someone else carry the big heavy, not cross word. Oh right, Sad Neil. He's probably get some armor at some point, but you're getting strength speed for now. I'm gonna, I think, how many tech hunters? Let's see, 1, 2. Where's the leader of the tech hunters? Tech hunters, maybe I want to hire again if I can find their leader, but he might be dead. Yeah, he's saying odd because of the acid rain. So now we talk about limbs. We want to get, ideally, a left and a right foot, and that's a running foot. And that way, if somebody loses a leg in battle, which hasn't happened yet, thankfully, but it could happen, alright? Especially if we run up against beak things. Or elder beak things, ugh. That could be a big deal. So, we want Scout Masterworks, right? This is a right leg. I want a left leg. A left Masterworks Scout. Alright. So we got a left and a right. We got 10k left. We're not going to be able to afford any Masterwork stuff. Could get like a high grade. But that sort of feels like spending money on something that we're probably going to want to replace anyway. You know? But that's good enough. We've got 2 legs. If something goes wrong, we can still move probably quicker with the bad legs than without. And we've already got those 2 ruins. There's one over here. We can find a few more ruins, maybe get some more money. Flaring on you. Stuck somewhere weird. Apparently bar. Meantime, let's come to Skeleton Bar. And now beef can hold stuff. Alright. Where to go? I'm thinking let's go immediately north. Because there's a ruin here. I know there's one over here somewhere. I don't want to mess around with that too much. Go this way to that ruin. I do not want to go through this valley of horribleness. We still have some bodyguards. They're not doing so well. But I figure either one of 2 things happen. Eventually they pick a fight, they all lose, and I got loot. Or they don't pick a fight, and things go okay. Although, maybe that's something that I should do this next episode. Spent so much time just sitting here talking about swords and what's the best ones to use, or, you know, polearms. ROBOBOOP. What is that? Belt. that a lantern? Maybe. Looks a bit like a lightsaber, only like rusty. Anywho, we now have ROBOBOOP. Hype. But yeah, I think it's probably a good place to end this episode. This has been another long one, but we got a lot done. We went from Stoat all the way to the Deadlands, looting some ruins and selling stuff, and are now geared out with some really fucking good Edgewalker weapons. Like, everyone's got an Edgewalker. And Thaddeus should probably put some clothes on. Except for he's slow. Feels bad. Whatever, he'll catch up eventually. Okay. So, to be continued. See ya.